Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Leod. I wanted to do an opening like this so you could see my face, so I'm not just a disembodied voice and hand moving very quickly on your screen as I paint. But I use a different microphone when I record my audio, and I usually do multiple takes for every line because reading lines is actually pretty hard for me. Doing the voiceovers is very challenging, and I need to cut a lot into it to remove all my ums and everything like that. And I don't think I could do that very well if I had to also sync the video because it would be very, very choppy. This week, I've got what I hope will be an interesting theme for my paintings: exploration. But before we dive too deep into that, let's talk about today's painting. This is a 9x12 oil painting on an ABS panel based on a photo I found online. So how does this painting tie into our theme of exploration? And what does it have to do with the legendary J.C. Leyendecker? Well, let's get into it. Here's the thing. Exploration isn't actually the real theme of the week. It's more of a placeholder, one broad enough to encompass the true theme, which is still something I'm figuring out. I have a sense of what the theme is, but it's amorphous enough that I can't put it into words, but it's still taking shape in my mind. So let's explore this together as I walk you through my painting process and thought process. Like I mentioned, this piece is based on a photo I found online. I cropped into it for a stronger composition, but since I'm working at this size, I had to reposition her hand to fit the frame. The original image didn't have as much smoke, but I pulled in elements from other photos in the photo pack and additional stock images to enhance the mood. While working on this piece, I had a few ideas rattling around in my head. Portraits don't sell well, freedom from the reference, aesthetics, pushing my design, and speed. Generally, portraits don't sell well compared to landscapes and still lifes, at least not to random buyers. That always struck me as odd because so much of the art I love is portraiture, but apparently I'm the weird one. Okay, now that I say it out loud, yes, obviously I'm the weird one. That was never really in question. But apparently, most people don't want paintings of strangers on their walls. Who knew? So unless it's a commission or a famous face, portraits can be a tough sell. With that in mind, I wanted this painting to be less about the individual and more about the painting itself. Freedom from the reference. Since likeness wasn't my primary concern, I wanted the freedom to move beyond the reference. Portraiture often demands accuracy, but in this case, the photo was just a foundation. My goal was to create an aesthetically compelling piece rather than a perfect likeness. Number 3. Aesthetics matter. Of course, I always want to make a good painting, but making a painting good and making it look good are two different things. A strong composition, subject, and lighting can make for a fantastic painting, but here I also wanted to make her and my brushwork look beautiful. Number 4, pushing my design. To achieve the aesthetics I'm after, I pushed my design. I'm comfortable pushing my colors, values, and edges, but I rarely alter the proportions or pose of the figures, and there's a good reason for that. The further you stray from a reference, the more you have to invent. I can paint a portrait without reference, but it won't be as realistic. While there are techniques to bridge that gap, the more you have to invent, the more you feel it in the artwork. And 5. Speed, the eternal struggle. One of the most time-consuming aspects of portrait painting for me is getting everything just right and keeping it there. I'm constantly adjusting placement and edges, shifting them around, messing them up and fixing them over and over again. I like to say that the features tend to drift throughout the process, and I have to repeatedly push them back into place. That's what makes it so time-consuming. But here, that's less of an issue. If it looks good, it's in place. For this series, though, I wanted to complete each painting in a day, both to keep the prices accessible and to create content around them. I love the idea of offering affordable original art, but I've struggled to maintain that pace. So I'm always looking for ways to speed up my process without sacrificing quality. If the videos suffer a little, Well, at least they're free. So where does JC Leyendecker fit into all this? If you're not familiar with his work, I'm so excited I get to introduce you to one of the most incredible artists ever. Leyendecker was a mentor to Norman Rockwell and a massive influence on illustration and culture in general. You don't need to be an art historian to appreciate his mastery. His brushwork, textures, and design are stunning. I love how his oil painting techniques sometimes resemble cross-hatching, creating a unique dynamic feel. While my work has moved away from his style in some ways, I've been focusing more on mood, lost edges, and painterly strokes, but his influence still sneaks in. In this painting, where I was designing the portrait and my brush mark and working with a wide value range, I think a bit of Leyendecker bubbled to the surface. Not that I'd ever compare myself to him, but let's say this piece has maybe 2% Leyendecker in it. Hopefully you can see the influence when I put his work next to mine. Well, that's it for today's painting. Join me in the next video as I continue to explore these ideas and try and pin down exactly what I'm trying to say with this week's theme. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. If you want to take this painting home, it's available on my website for $250 as part of my daily painting series. And if you want to keep the conversation going, join my Discord community or follow me on social media. Links are in the description. Have an amazing week, and as always, happy painting!